Okay. Welcome, everybody. My name is Marcy. I'm from Indivisible, Illinois. This is a phone bank that is a collaboration between Indivisible, Illinois and the Wisconsin Democratic Party. And for those of you who have not been on it before, we have been doing this collaboration for, oh God, what, 3 months, Rose? Has it been 3 months?
I believe so, at least. Yeah. I've got some numbers to share. They're impressive.
Yeah, wow. So anyway, we have a special guest today, and Rose Colasino, who is co-lead to Indivisible Illinois, is going to introduce him.
Very good. Let me go ahead and get started with that. Again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Indivisible Illinois West Dems Phone Bank, hosted by the Vote by Mail Task Force, Rural Illinois, and the SJA team, part of the roadmap to 2022 suppression-free democracy. My name is Rose Colasino. I'm co-lead at Indivisible Illinois and the Voters' Rights and Protection Chair. We've been making calls weekly to promote absentee ballots in Wisconsin since January, and I'm confident that we were instrumental, no one can tell me differently, in the election of the first American mayor of Milwaukee, Cavalier Johnson. Just recently saw him on MSNBC. This spring, GOTV, we have made, write this down, everybody, 23,000 call attempts, multiple hours on Through Talk, and now over 1,000 conversations. It is my honor to introduce to you Ezra Levin, the co-founder and co-executive director of Indivisible National, as well as one of the authors of the Indivisible Guide. After the 2016 election of Donald Trump, our world was shaken. We were stunned but driven to act. Fortunately for us, the Indivisible Guide was being developed and it was about to go viral. I, along with many others, were seeking out the opportunity to turn my agony into action. The Indivisible Guide gave us that blueprint for success, helping us win not only in 2018, but also in 2020. That guide turned into the Indivisible Project Network, a grassroots American movement founded in 2016 with thousands of chapters. Marcy and I were just discussing, we believe about 6,000. Ezra can check us on that, across the US in urban, suburban, and rural communities. The updated guide will help us win in 2022, I'm sure of it. Here's a quote from Ezra and Leah Greenberg, the other co-founder and co-executive director of Indivisible. If there's one takeaway from this new guide, we hope it's this: we have the power, we have the opportunity, it is up to us, the time is now. What's more is that Ezra and Leah wrote a book, A Blueprint for Democracy After Trump, to tell the story of the movement. They offer a behind-the-scenes look at how change comes to Washington, and they explain how we'll win the coming fight for the future of American democracy. All proceeds go to the Indivisible Save Democracy Fund. I actually first met Ezra and Leah when they came to Illinois to promote their book, and I bought for myself this national bestseller. So more about Ezra before I turn it over to him. Ezra, along with Leah, were named by Time in 2019 as being among the 100 most influential people in the world. He and Leah were also selected by Politico in 2017 and in GQ in 2018 for their annual list of the most powerful and influential people in Washington, D.C. He is ranked number 2 on the Politico 50 list of top thinkers, doers, and visionaries transforming American politics. He graduated from Carleton College with a BA. He earned a master's degree from the Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs at Princeton University. Ezra was a federal anti-poverty advocate after serving as a legislative and campaign staffer for Congressman Lloyd Doggett. He has appeared as a commentator and or been interviewed by, get ready for it, I'm going to say them all, MSNBC, CNN, NPR, Pod Save America, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Politico, Time Magazine, the New Yorker, the Nation, Slate, and Rolling Stone, among others. So impressive, I had to say them all. And now I introduce to you the man who Rachel Maddow calls on for advice, Ezra Levin.
That was just too much, y'all. Look, I am here. I'm here because you're here. Look, I'm here because y'all are here. We wrote this Google Doc based on our own experience on Capitol Hill. The reason why we're still talking about it is because of the power that you all have been building for the last 5 years. So I'm thrilled to be here with folks who aren't just talking about how bad things are, but are actually doing something about it. And I think at the heart, that's what Indivisible is about. We don't say everything's okay. We look it square in the face, but then we say, okay, what can we actually do about it? So Marcy, Mary, Mark, Rose, Lori, Dale, Dottie, Sarah, Marianne, Sue, we're building democracy together. That's what we're doing here. So I think there are a lot of reasons for pessimism that we hear on Twitter, or we hear on the news, or we hear from our fellow pro-democracy advocates that are scared. I'm sick of people talking about how bad it is. Look, 5 years ago, we had an incoming trifecta fascist government that was promising not just to gut healthcare, but to undermine democracy entirely. And in 2017, we defeated their top legislative priority, taking away healthcare. In 2018, we built the blue wave that took the House, which everybody said was impossible at the time. In 2019, we pushed the Dems to impeach Trump on what? Extorting Zelensky and refusing to provide military aid to him. In 2020, we made Trump the first one-term president in a generation. And then in 2021, everybody's like, well, you're not going to have a trifecta. We won 2 damn Senate seats in Georgia. So don't tell me how bad things are, how much we're in the hole, or how we can't dig out. We did it time and time again. And the reason why we pick these fights, you all know, is because they're necessary fights to pick, not because it's automatically going to happen. But we all know we've got to come together at events like this. So instead of talking about like the reasons for pessimisms and the midterms or what's happening with Trump, let's talk about some reasons for optimism. I want to focus on reasons for optimism. This isn't saying that everything's going to be good and great and turn out automatically, but there are real reasons for optimism, and we shouldn't just sweep those under the rug. First and foremost, 2018 and 2020 were wildly successful electoral years for the pro-democracy forces in the country. We are entering the 2020 elections, this cycle, with 42 million new pro-democracy voters, anti-Trump, anti-fascist voters who turned out in 2018 and 2020. Literally no president in the history of the Republic has started their midterm election cycle with that kind of head start of new voters. If the only thing we were to do this year, was to get out the same voters who turned out in 2018 and 2020, we win. We expand the House majority, we expand the Senate majority, we reinstate legislatures all across the country, up and down the ballot, we would win. That's not the only thing we're going to do. We're also going to pull in new voters. We're also going to flip some old voters. There's going to be some depressed turnout on their side, but we're starting from a very good place compared to past midterms that new presidents have faced. Another big reason for optimism, canvassing is back. We can actually engage in this fight without one hand behind our back. In 2020, the other side that doesn't believe in science and doesn't care about killing their volunteers did a lot of canvassing, and we didn't. The single best tool we had for canvassing nationwide, it's not to say we didn't do any, but the mass kind of voter contact that the other side was doing, we weren't doing it because we couldn't. Canvassing is back though, and that's really important in target states and target districts. A third reason for optimism is a double-edged sword, which is the GOP extremism that is going to be demonstrating itself again and again and again over the course of this year. I'm talking these overreach on culture war that they have gotten themselves into a hole. You know what's not popular? Burning books and banning books. You know what's not popular? Creating a Gestapo force to go in and there's not terrorize kids in Texas and elsewhere. These things are not actually popular. They think they can run on it, but they can't. They've overreached, and we have opportunities to push back. Trump is going to keep on saber rattling. Trump is going to keep on being in the news. We're going to have the January 6th hearings that happen in June and July with more revelations of exactly what was going on there. We're going to see a court overreach in all likelihood on things like affirmative action and Roe as well. I don't like that that's happening, but it's going to mean that a lot of people who currently aren't paying attention are suddenly going to pay attention again. Leah has this, I don't like horror movies. I think the world's scary enough as it is. Leah loves horror movies. And so I think this is a good analogy from her. We're at that point, there are a handful of us on here. We're at that point in the zombie film where we've defeated the zombie the first time, but there's still more time left in the movie. So we all know the zombie isn't gone. We're all here. We're like, hey, that zombie's not actually defeated yet. Maybe we should focus on it. We're telling our friends and neighbors, hey, the zombie's still there. Don't just go watch Netflix. Don't just go have fun. We got to do this. And it can feel lonely at that part in the movie. We're just like saying, hey, really, this is a thing. But everybody else is going to wake up to this eventually. We're going to see what happens with Roe. We're certainly going to see what happens with Trump. We're going to see what happens with the candidates they put forward who win their Republican primaries. And people are going to lift their heads up and they're going to say, oh my God, the zombie is back. I've got to do something. And we're not going to be there to say, I told you so. We're going to be there to say, welcome, we need you in this fight. And that's what y'all are doing right here with meetings like this. So that brings me to the last reason for optimism, y'all. I talk to indivisible groups in red states, blue states, purple states, rural areas, ex-urban areas, suburban areas, all over the country every week. And they're doing exactly what you're doing. They are on the forefront of this fight to to defeat this zombie once and for all. So nothing is going to do this other than us. Nobody is coming out on there as a knight in shining armor to save us, but us doing this work and welcoming more people into the work is what's going to solve this for us. So I'm thrilled to be here. I don't want to cut into your voter contact time because that's the most important thing, but thank you for doing what you're doing. And I'm happy. I'm cheering you as much as I can from afar.
Oh, thank you for coming, Ezra. That was so awesome. So that will give us a lot of incentive to get on the phone to these voters and get them voting for us. You rock.
Thank you. Y'all rock. Happy to come back anytime. I got to beat Ben's numbers here. So please, yeah, let me come back and hopefully maybe Zeke can make an appearance next time too. But thank you for what you're doing, y'all.
That would be really special. Thank you so much, Ezra. You do energize us. You give us fuel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody. First of all, is there anybody